guys are about to witness the first time I get to take this car out for more than 0.5 laps. I finally get to take it out on the track and see what it's got. We're still on all of the suspension meant for drag racing and straight line stuff. Let's see what this car can do.
Yesterday we had a bunch of oil coming out of the catch can. I have a very small catch can, so I had to upgrade to the vibrant catch can one day. I have them at the shop, just haven't got around to it. And so when I fill it up with oil all the way, it spits out whatever oil that the system doesn't need. So I should be able to drain the catch can today. We don't have a whole lot of blow by. Next lap out, it shouldn't blow all that oil out. So right now it has exactly how much oil it wants.
This is how beefy the Haltech tire monitor system is. This fell off of the car halfway through my first lap. Miscommunication, it didn't get bolted down, but it survived. This thing's solid. So thankfully, I get my tire temps back.
Yesterday, backing in, he happened to lose power steering. We're still full on power steering fluid. Hopefully there's just an air bubble or something like that, and we are all good to go. But I think we definitely need to get a power steering cooler line on there so that way it cools down that fluid. Because honestly, there's not a lot, and when you're turning a lot, I mean, it's a lot. We don't have a power steering leak. The pump is pumping. I see it actively pumping, but for whatever reason, don't know if we blew a seal on the inside. Being aware, but honestly, if power steering's the problem, I will take that every day of the week. That is a W in our book.
Just firmed up the suspension. I had it completely open for drag racing and launching because it just absorbs so much better. But on turns, I want to have a little bit more predictability. Not too worried about the body roll. The tires are really wide, so it's not weight transferring that much. Look at how firm the suspension is now.
Better.
Much better. And so I went from all the way loose to all the way tight. It probably could go firmer. But we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the rears as well. But it looks like there's more.
Our rear brakes are locking up just a tad bit after the front. So to get a better, obviously stopping, I'm just gonna move the bias just a little bit more. Fronts will lock up before the rears, and he'll stop really fast.
This is very rare for Michigan, but it feels like California with this light and the sounds. I was talking to the anti-gravity, and they brought this out, and normally you would not need this in Michigan, but check this out. Oh my God, that's sick.
Whoa.
Oh man, it's already lit up. So you can do USB to power it over to the little boombox that we were just playing with. Or you can charge like a laptop directly, so you can more than trickle charge your battery from this. So it'll do up to 4 amps, 4.5 amps or something like that. We bought a little baby t-shirt. Now we're not using that oil, we're just using the bottle because it's 2 to 3 ounces, so we know exactly how much premix. So we're premixing it in the tank. We got our beautiful, beautiful 1 ethanol. This is R. We are in business to get back on that track and blow everybody's eardrums out.
Kev has a badass pump, and he has some wires. He hot wired some stuff up, and battery pack is working perfectly fine, and we're supplying fuel to give us fuel. So we are breathing life into the 4-rotor as we speak.
Going back to Michigan gave me the opportunity to see my family again, which is wonderful. If you were to look at my brothers and I, just from the head alone, the hairline back, you would now think that I am the by far youngest one. And thanks to Keeps, that's possible because all this hair, well, throughout the rest of this entire video is hidden under a helmet. It's all there, unlike my brothers. 2 out of every 3 men by the age of 35 experience male pattern baldness, and all 3 of us brothers were no exception. With Keeps, the goal is prevention. It's wonderful for people like me, for people like you who are busy, got stuff to do. You can just go to keeps.com/RobDahm and learn more. And it's so easy to take action on preventing hair loss. Like I said, a variety of solutions. And if you need more proof of that, take a look at my brothers. At the top, the crown, and these 2 sides are kind of where you start seeing, as you get older, you start seeing those areas get thinner. And while there is hair still there, it's just thin, there's a lot you can do about that. You can see, if the lighting was just right, you can see through there. But if you saw back in 2015, it was very easy to touch my scalp through the hair, and my days were numbered. If you want to take action on preventing hair loss, go to keeps.com/RobDahm to learn more. That's KEEPS.com/RobDahm. Now back to the 4-rotor going nuts. The fumes. That was insane. I have some programming on the car. You'll hear it and you'll see it on the second lap.
Oh, the pops?
Yeah, I redlined it and it was so sick, but I had logic that was fighting itself, and so it was like, oh, so I had to turn the key off to get it to unstick, and then it was good. So it was my fault. I programmed it. But oh my God, even just firming it up that little bit more, and of course, it was faster than yesterday. And of course, that's partially me, but partially the car. I was getting better braking, the shorter distance of everything. I mean, you can hear down the straight, that's what its best thing is, and even then I still wasn't full throttle, but oh, I love a good fireball.
This is the first time this car like this has ever seen rain, and of course, it's in Michigan. We're gonna get rusted out, dude. It's gonna be done.
No hood.
Yeah, no hood.
No hood. I guess we could put the hood on
Just
there.
raw dog in the rain. No, it's all good. It's all good. I'll scrub the rust off with my bare hand.
I'm getting peer pressured by everybody into taking the car out right now, and there's some drifting smoke, but there's also, it's raining. Unfortunately, I'm all people aside, like I don't like being pressured because I've already spun out with slicks in the rain. But at least there's no highway middle dividers here, so I'm not gonna push the car as hard this time, but I still want to give the fans what they want to hear, which is the thing screaming. And water, I guess technically is water injection, so not my favorite moment, but still one of my favorite moments.
good when he drives it. I mean, you can appreciate that, you know.
I have some sort of bug in the way I tune the drive-by-wire. What you hear and what you'll see in car is the drive-by-wire went to full throttle. Just imagine your throttle getting fully stuck and then having to deal with that. You turn it off and now the car unsettles. The car handles really well given the worst case scenario. So super epic. To give you a post-race breakdown of what just happened, that was so epic. And what I wanted to tell you guys is that, like, obviously I'm pushing the car harder and harder, and of course in front of Larry I want to shoot tons of flames, but I have a bug in the way I tune the car, particularly the throttle body, that when I let off completely, I'm telling the Hall Tech something wrong, because it says, oh, okay, let's start rising up on drive-by-wire. So my throttle was opening without me when I was just letting off, and the car's like, in mid-turn, and started drifting, but it was all-wheel drive, so it was pulling me forward, and so instinctively, because it's stuck at full, I shut the car off. Well, the problem is you shut the car off, it unsettled the car completely, and even then, it's still like held in. The limits of the car are insane, and so that happened, and then in the back, I did a full 360 because of the same problem, but I now know what the car can do. We can look at that data, and while I was getting on it harder in the straightaways, the turns are just getting sexier and sexier. I've made a post on Facebook asking if you had this car, what would you do with it? So many people were saying Pikes Peak or Time Attack, and I will tell you what, firm up these springs, maybe some sway bars, and put some big aero on this thing and let that motor eat. This thing is going to tear up the track. I gotta very quickly become a much better driver though, because there's a lot here that I need to unpack. The best part about what we just learned on the track on accident is that when it got out of control, it was very high level, but it was very much in control. So, you know, when you have a car that gives you a lot of feedback, I was able to manipulate the car, and if it's got great steering angle and of course tons of power, it wasn't until I had to shut the power off and then lost control of the car did it really truly lose control. But while it was spinning, I knew what like. The car was very compliant. That's a word I've been using over and over. It's a very boring word, but it's a very true word for this. Is that it was like, okay, well I'm spinning. Okay, I want to go this way, and especially with all-wheel drive, kind of committing to it, a lot of control. This is so badass. So Josh from Hall Tech, I knew it. The problem was me. It was me, but it wasn't my driving. It was my tuning. I actually have like 20 different functions. Everything's adjusting the main thing. The main thing is my throttle position and my drive-by-wire. Well, something was adjusting it. It wasn't a bug. It was something I was telling the computer to do, and it was doing it when I asked, but I didn't know what I was asking. So he found out that looking at one of the logs, I was turning on anti-lag. And so this red line right here is anti-lag going, let's get the party started. And so he picked up on that. And so then there's the drive-by-wire turning on to try and really make the boost and RPM rise. I'm trying to decelerate. He figured out I need to get better at doing my anti-lag on this. It doesn't need anti-lag, which is why I really haven't played with it much, because it just has so much torque down low. But we certainly will be revisiting it, but I'm just gonna turn that off. And what you see in Larry's videos, or sick 360 to be honest, that's anti-lag turning on mid-turn. I already love the hardware, but then the team, the software, all of this is just, it can run a machine like this, so it can run just about any car.
Race team.
Yeah.
Only the best.
Brand new.
Please don't go off.
Hall Tech figured out what it was.
Okay.
I was getting overzealous and had enabled rally anti-lag like weeks ago.
I thought maybe you had a loose nut behind the wheel.
That's still there. was just beginning to master the car. I was just beginning to get into it, and she started breaking up really bad. Now, nothing's wrong. The tune's off, but we wouldn't know that without testing it. So what a great way to end grid life is by pushing the car really hard and seeing when it heat soaks, it stayed at 172 degrees the whole time. Coolant system is perfect, oil system is perfect. But we got really small things that a normal car would never have problems with, including the fact that if I turn really tight right and then let off the gas, the rebound causes it to hit the oil pump. Like, I could feel it hitting. I have to look further as to why it was breaking up so bad. I'm learning, and I could be like most people and do this privately, hide all these details, and then show you the clips from the good laps, and then, oh, magically when I go out in public, it works. But I want you guys to see what really happens. And this was meant to be a shakedown. I risked it all going to an event that's not meant for shaking down, to shake it down, and I'm so thankful that they let me do that. We just took a quick field diagnosis of the car, and I can tell you one thing's impressive. 1.4 Gs, a little bit above it, but 1.4 Gs in turns. Now, I couldn't turn right as hard, axles hitting the front of the engine, so I couldn't turn as hard into that. But on my left turn, 1.4 Gs. The back straightaway is where the car let me down, which is its strongest thing. But even in just a little section between turns 3 and 4, whoop, up to 110 miles an hour, and then right back down. So more than a G, it's a 1.1 Gs of forward acceleration over a G of braking, which that'll get stronger as I push it harder. I really wasn't pushing it. God, I can't stop looking at Isaiah's pants. They just look like oil. It's an oil spill. Well, I was like, hey, you know, while we're juggling and doing all this stuff, cooling the car down, can you check the plugs? I forget that we have basically a drag race CDI insanity from Fuel Tech. The plugs are all melted down. It sounded like it was breaking up too much. I looked at the air fuel ratio and it was still okay. It wasn't going so rich. It wasn't like I lost compression, and it's just that I was having a lot of breakup as if there was an ignition problem. Well, we went and looked at rotor. Well, we're pulling off rotor 2 right now, but we did 4, 3, and they're all nubbed. We can turn down the spark energy if we need to. Even though the whole block only went to 172 degrees peak, there's localized heat. Those plugs are giving off a shit ton of heat, and that's going back into the block only in that spot, but that's not directly touching coolant because it's gotta have metal around it, right? So a lot of interesting dynamics at play.
We never would have known unless we did this. Right?
Yeah, in this, any of those guys, not you guys, but any of those guys that are like that one guy saying, oh, armchair quarterback, my 4-rotor, or Mad Mike's 4-rotor, those guys aren't doing what we're doing. Nobody's doing what we're doing, and I wish I could call Mad Mike, but he wouldn't know. I'm gonna be honest with you, is that this is a totally different thing than anybody else has done, and so we have to kind of go on this journey alone and then share it with you guys. So yes, tons of people have already invented the wheel. Hell, back after horseless carriages we got cars now, and those guys all done stuff that we are reinventing now, but that's kind of the point of this channel, is to see what it takes for random guys to make this happen. So we're just gonna keep on pushing through. We'll keep moving forward, like TJ would say.